In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on this Ford Flex with the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated engine. The turbo version will be slightly different, so just keep that in mind. Up top under the hood, if you have an engine cover, you may or may not need to remove it. Ours does not have it, so we have nothing in the way. Next, locate and remove two things. The oil filler cap, which is this right here. On it, it'll even say what kind of oil you need to use. 5W20, 6 quarts of it to be precise. And you want to remove the oil dipstick, which is right here. We'll need that later for checking the level of the fluid. Now underneath the vehicle on the passenger side, you'll notice the engine oil pan with the 15mm drain plug right on the end of it on the back side. Have a collection bucket ready, grab a 15mm wrench or socket, and let's break it free. This one's a little bit tighter than I would usually want to see it, but that's okay. Keep pressure on it as you unthread it so that on the last thread, it doesn't come shooting out and make a mess everywhere. You control the flow of oil and when it begins. So I can feel that right here, it's on the last thread, it's skipping on it. So I'm gonna pull away suddenly. And this will allow me to drain it with no mess. We'll just let this drain until it's down to a drip. While that's still draining, either into a second collection bucket like I'm doing, or pull yours over if it's large enough so it can drain and catch the residue from the filter at the same time. Let's break the filter free. If it was put on properly, you shouldn't need an oil filter wrench to remove it, but sometimes you do regardless. Just unthread this and let it drip down. Once most of the oil has dripped out of it, unthread it the rest of the way. Make sure you don't drop it in your collection bucket and splash it everywhere. There it is. We'll let this drain also. Let's clean up the surface where the oil filter mounts. Wipe it up with a clean rag. Make sure there's no debris here. And most importantly, make sure the old gasket, there's going to be an O-ring on the oil filter, did not stick to this surface. If it did, peel it off. Otherwise, it'll double gasket when the new oil filter goes on and you'll have a massive oil leak. Now, this is going to continue dripping, so I'll just let it do its thing until we're ready to put the new filter on. At that point, I'll wipe it again right before the filter goes on. This is optional, but highly recommended. I like to prime my oil filters before they go on, and what that means is I like to fill it with oil almost all the way to the top so that it has oil in it and the filter material is already soaked in oil and that avoids a dry startup. You can usually do this with all filters that sit upright just like this one. It sits exactly like this on the vehicle, not upside down, which means no oil that I add here will drain back out as I try to thread it on. You'll notice that the oil level will go down slightly after I add some. That's normal. That's because the filter is soaking it in. So add a little bit more. This particular engine takes a total of 6 quarts of oil, so I'm going to keep track how much oil I put in here so I know at the end how much I've put in the system in total, because the 6 quarts does include the oil that goes inside the filter. This is almost full at this point. I don't want to add any more, but what I do want to do is lubricate this O-ring that sits at the top here. Take a little bit of oil on a clean glove and lubricate it so that it's not completely dry. What this will do is it's going to help the O-ring not stick on, and it'll allow it to come off a lot easier next time you change the oil filter, and it'll allow it to seal up a little bit better. And now thread on the new oil filter. Make sure it threads on nice and smooth. You don't want it cross-threading whatsoever. If it is, you'll know because it's not going to slide on like this. Once it bottoms out, which is right about here, it even says it right on the filter, turn it about 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. This right here is about 1/2, and I'll give it a little extra. That's about 3/4, and that's perfectly tight right there. You don't want to use an oil filter wrench or anything else to crank this down because it will be over tightened at that point. It's down to a slow drip. If you wanted to keep waiting, go ahead, but this is pretty much done. So I'm going to cap this off. Once I have this in halfway, I'm going to give it another wipe so that the remaining oil doesn't keep dripping down. Tighten it up, and let's torque it to 20 foot-pounds. With this bottomed out completely, if you don't have access to a torque wrench, just give it about 1/4 of a turn and make it nice and snug with a wrench or ratchet. There we go. Let's add some oil right into the oil filler hole on the front valve cover. You want to add the full 6 quarts that I mentioned earlier, starting with the one that I already opened for the oil filter. With our full 6 quarts added, let's put the oil filler cap right back, make sure it's nice and tight, and now let's measure the oil level on the dipstick. So wipe the dipstick down as you completely pull it out of the engine, and you want to make sure that the oil level is right between these two dots. Most likely, because we haven't started the engine yet, it'll be right on the full dot, or the high mark that is, maybe even a tiny bit over. Let's check. Pull it all the way in till it clicks, pull it back out, and let's inspect it. And upon inspection, you can see it's right above the full line, but that's okay because we haven't started the engine yet. As soon as we start it, it'll go right back down to where it needs to be. Having said that, make sure everything else is good. You have no spillage. If you accidentally spilt, clean it up with a rag or some brake parts cleaner. And of course, if you had it, put your engine cover back on. Now inside, put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position. Don't start the engine yet, but just let it do its thing. Once it's on, you'll see this screen right here. Scroll down to settings. You can scroll down using the buttons on the steering wheel, on the left side that is. Click OK, then go down to vehicle, click OK, and then scroll down until you see oil life reset. Click OK, and then we're going to set it to 100%. That means it's completely changed and the reminder will reset after 100% of its lifespan has gone by. If you wanted to change it sooner, you would set it to the appropriate percentage, but for us, we're going to do 100%. Hold the OK button and you'll see at the bottom the bar that fills and will indicate that the oil life has been successfully reset. At this point, you can turn the key off or turn on the engine and take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.